Hello, everybody. Welcome to a very special episode of Ziggy Cruze Wrestling News. And we're going to be looking at the rise and fall of the Samoan Bulldozer, Umaga. Now, there's been some renewed interest in Umaga with the current success of his relative Jacob Fatu, kind of a lot of resemblance. So, us here at the Ziggy Cruze Wrestling News thought we'd look back on the career of Umaga, the upbringing, the training, and his big undefeated streak that he's mostly known for. He just ran through pretty much decimated everybody in WWE and about until he didn't. So we're gonna look into that, see where it went right, see where it went wrong, and leave it up to you. See if WWE fell to Umaga or did Umaga fell himself. After Superfly Jimmy Snuka, Yokozuna, Rikishi, and The Rock dominated WWE, but before Roman Reigns and his bloodline turned the place into their personal kingdom, the Inoki family had a brief moment of, let's call it, underrepresentation, but then came Umaga in 2006, bulldozing his way onto the scene like an out-of-control freight train with no brakes. He made his mark on the infamous Raw after WrestleMania episode by attacking the legendary Nature Boy Ric Flair, because apparently even Hall of Famers aren't safe from a Samoan wrecking ball. Umaga, or Edward Fatu, known to his family as Eddie, was born March 28, 1973 to the legendary Inoaki family. This wrestling dynasty produced some of the biggest names in sports entertainment, from the Wild Samoans to The Rock, Roman Reigns, and Rikishi. So, really, Eddie had two career options: become a wrestler or disappoint his entire bloodline. Naturally, he laced up his boots and went at it. Trained by his uncles, the Wild Samoans, Eddie honed his skills with a regimen that emphasized power, agility, showmanship, or as they probably call it, how to scare your opponents in 3 easy steps. His hard work paid off, catching the eyes of major promotions and setting the stage for his wrestling debut. In 2002, Eddie became Jamal, one half of the destructive tag team 3 Minute Warning, alongside his cousin Rosie, managed by Eric Bischoff. Their gimmick was simple: if Bischoff got bored, he would send them out to obliterate whoever was in the ring. It was WWE's equivalent of hitting the skip button, but with more violence. After a somewhat solid run, Jamal was released in 2003, but instead of fading into obscurity, Eddie took a detour through Japan, where he evolved from a big guy who smashes things to a big guy who smashes things but with more finesse. His refined skills led to a grand return to WWE in 2006, only this time he wasn't just another big dude. He was Umaga, the Samoan Bulldozer, and yes, he came with a terrifying manager too, Armando Alejandro Estrada, whose name alone took longer to say than some of Umaga's matches lasted. Umaga debuted in the WWE by steamrolling Ric Flair and then spent the next 9 months plowing through the Raw roster like a hurricane in face paint. Even top stars like John Cena, Shawn Michaels, and Triple H were not safe. WWE had essentially created a boss level character everyone was stuck playing on hard mode. His undefeated streak ended in January 2007 when Cena managed to roll him up for a pin. Yes, after 9 months of dominance, Umaga was taken out by a simple roll up. I was there live in Kansas City, row three, and I immediately called BS on this because I mean, John Cena, he was hot at the time, but a lot of people in the crowd just, they were looking for Umaga to win. I was looking for Umaga to win, and it just didn't work out that way. And you know, it was an underwhelming, way to go. But you know, WWE loves its shock finishes, I guess. Umaga went on to get his rematch against Cena at Royal Rumble and lost that one in very underwhelming fashion too. And to be honest, as a wrestling fan, this was kind of where things started changing for me for the way I felt about Cena. This is where I think a lot of the Cena and his shovel came from because Umaga really ended up seeming to really end up getting buried after this, started getting worked down the card. Um, but he still had a somewhat high profile match at WrestleMania, even though he wasn't really what made it high profile. He represented Vince McMahon against Donald Trump's hand-picked warrior Bobby Lashley, who was the ECW, the WWE's version of ECW's champion at the time, in the infamous Battle of the Billionaires. The real loser of this match, though, was, besides Vince's hairline, was Umaga and his, post Cena, post WrestleMania trajectory. Saw him bouncing around the mid card. He won the Intercontinental Championship, lost it, won it again, turned face, turned heel again. Basically, he went through more character shifts than a daytime soap opera. He had marquee feuds, but WWE never quite pulled the trigger on him as a long-term main eventer. By 2009, Umaga was still a beast, but he was now being used to put others over, including my guy, CM Punk. His last WWE match was against Punk in a Samoan strap match at Extreme Rules. Shortly after, WWE released him to a wellness policy violation. They say it was only a second strike, but he refused to go to treatment. I don't know. Might cost him his life. 'Cause, I mean, he had a couple decent years on Independence and back in Japan. He worked on Hulk Hogan's Hulkamania tour. But in 2009, I mean, his heart gave away, and he had a massive heart attack. Took his life. A lot of it they were blaming on drug use, both recreational and prescription. So I mean, maybe things would have worked out differently for him if he would have went to rehab and try to stick it with WWE. But what happened, and can't change it now. But with the rise of Jacob Fatu, fans notice similarities between him and Umaga. Jacob is essentially the 2020s edition of a Samoan wrecking machine, only this time WWE might actually avoid derailing this push. I mean, there's a new guard. I feel like Triple H been making better decisions on people's careers than Vince McMahon was making. So we will see. Will Jacob Fatu follow in Umaga's footsteps, or will he break through the WWE glass ceiling, become top star? But if history taught us anything, it's that WWE loves repeating itself. So here's hoping they get it right this time. So thanks to everybody that joined us for this very special episode of Ziggy Cruze Wrestling News, and as always, Make sure you check out the Lair of LaFleur here on YouTube. That's at the LaFleur Network. Check out our boy Shady Davy D LaFleur. New episodes drop every Sunday, and some of the things he's researched so far has been, you know, sanitariums, nut houses. Dove in deep on that. Um, Looked into ancient, possibility of ancient civilizations found close to where in Missouri, close to where we live. And be sure to check them out every Thursday night. They'll be live streaming USPC bowling from lovely Leisure World lanes in beautiful downtown Kirksville, Missouri. Such a progressive city. And be sure to be here every Monday and Friday as I review Raw and SmackDown and all the PLEs. And we've got big stuff planned for WrestleMania that you cannot miss. Thanks. Peace.